Post a single open role today, and within hours, you're staring down thousands of applications. The sheer volume of incoming resumes is burying hiring teams before they even start. Yet, despite having more applicants than ever, 65% of recruiters say finding qualified candidates is actually harder right now than it was before the pandemic. Look at this graph. We have a steep, continuous spike in applicant volume colliding with a completely flat line for human recruiting capacity. The math simply does not work. This expanding red area is the burnout gap, dragging the average time to hire out past 23 days. Relying exclusively on manual human effort to process that initial volume forces a brutal choice. You either move too slowly and lose top-tier talent to faster competitors, or you rush the process and make an expensive mishire. The software market's answer to this burnout is a flood of tools branding themselves as AI recruiters, promising to automate your workflow from end to end. But that label hides a massive variance in capability. An AI recruiter could mean a basic text message bot asking yes or no questions, or it could mean a large language model evaluating live, complex coding assessments. Apply the wrong category of software to the wrong position, and you actively damage your employer brand. Forcing the senior executive to navigate a rigid chat sequence guarantees they will drop out of your pipeline. We need to map exactly which AI tools solve specific hiring bottlenecks across the pipeline. And crucially, we need to identify the final step where artificial intelligence must be entirely banned. Automating parts of your hiring process is now mandatory for survival, but treating AI as a single uniform fix will break your funnel completely. Let's start with the high-volume operator. If you're staffing massive frontline teams, your biggest enemy is logistical noise. The fix is deploying conversational AI and ATS workflows. These instantly parse resumes, trigger SMS screening, and allow candidates to self-schedule interviews. Operating around the clock and across time zones, this layer can clear up to 90% of your basic screening workload automatically. The trade-off is that this text-heavy, automated approach feels highly impersonal. It should never touch your senior, highly technical, or complex roles. At the very top of the funnel, artificial intelligence isn't trying to identify the perfect hire. It is there to clear the logistical backlog so your team actually has the bandwidth to see the qualified applicants. Now consider the technical team lead. The primary bottleneck is pulling highest-performing engineers away from actual work to conduct endless 45-minute technical phone screens. This is where asynchronous LLM-powered error step in. These systems act as a domain-specific technical screen that operates without any human evaluator present. Unlike older, rigid, one-way video platforms, an LLM actually reads the candidate's initial code or logic answers. It then generates intelligent, real-time follow-up questions to probe their specific technical choices. This chart shows the impact. By eliminating the nightmare of scheduling multiple human engineers for round one interviews, deploying an async LLM system drops the average time to hire from 23 days down to just 9. Mid-funnel AI acts as a protective shield for your technical team's schedule. It handles the rigorous baseline competency checks, ensuring your human engineers only spend time talking to truly viable candidates. At this point, the obvious objection is whether top-tier candidates will actually tolerate an AI interview and whether a machine can grade them fairly. The data is clear. In a recent 60-day study tracking over 200 candidates, 87% preferred the asynchronous AI format because it respected their personal schedules and eliminated time zone conflicts. When the AI's grading logic was tested against scores given by experienced human technical leads, the machine achieved a 91% alignment with the human evaluators. This statistical bell curve illustrates how the system evaluates different groups. By standardizing the evaluation framework around language and logic parameters, the LLMs actively mitigated the demographic biases that frequently skew human-led interviews. Properly prompted mid-funnel AI generates a layer of objectivity and consistency that distracted human interviewers struggle to match. Finally, we reach the culture defender. These are the founders and executives terrified that rapid scaling will dilute company culture and lower the talent bar. Here is the hard boundary for all of this technology. At the final stage of the hiring funnel, all automated decision-making must stop completely. The definitive model here is Amazon's 25-year-old bar raiser program. They use trained, objective third-party employees who evaluate final-stage candidates entirely on core leadership principles and long-term potential. This deliberate, human-intensive friction prevents desperate hiring managers from lowering their standards just to quickly fill an empty seat. The ultimate assessment of character, their capacity for adaptability, and their true cultural alignment simply cannot be parsed by an algorithm. That final call demands human nuance and intuition. Attempting to force a single tool to fix the entire pipeline is a mistake. If you use expensive human bar raisers to screen 500 initial resumes, you will bankrupt your team's time. Look at this flowchart to match your specific pain point to the right tool. It starts with one question: what is your primary bottleneck? If you are drowning in unqualified applicants and scheduling chaos, move down this branch and implement conversational AI combined with ATS workflows. But if your engineers are suffering from severe interview fatigue, follow this path and deploy asynchronous LLM interviews to handle the first-round technical screens. Identifying your specific operational friction point and applying the precise tool to fix it is the only way to generate actual, measurable returns from hiring software. We arrive at a strange paradox. To preserve the humanity in our hiring processes, we have to aggressively automate them. Artificial intelligence is not a replacement for human judgment. Instead, it serves as a mechanism designed specifically to protect that judgment from the exhausting fatigue of scale. Let software handle the crushing volume, coordinate the scheduling, and verify baseline competencies. That leaves your human evaluators with the energy required to truly raise the bar. The winning companies of the next decade will use automation to buy back the focus required for high-stakes human decisions.